When I draw, I try to make every line and every mark count for something. My drawing hand, looks after me and will always come through for me, and it will always sort of know what to do when I have a pencil or a pen or a stick of charcoal in it. You have kids who are very good at something, and I was good at art. If there was no way for me to sort of, have an expression artistically, then I don't even know if I would have been able to finish grade 10. You could say I had my boyhood in Innisfail, and then my family moved to Cairns, and I went to high school in Cairns. My memories of growing up there are only mostly good memories, because although we were all poor, we were all together. It's only now I realise sort of how difficult it was for my parents to, raise children as Aboriginal children. The wind is blowing in this one, you can see her hair is kind of pushed to the side. Yeah, and I always asked my grandmother what kind of woman Granny Annie was, but it's only ever bits and pieces of a whole story. So that looks pretty good. Now, I believe in having good light. All I'm doing is just teasing out the details and just trying to find out how much there is I can draw out of this one image. How's it going, Gav? You bored yet? Yeah. You want to go shop and buy yourself something? I'm married and have 4 children, and they kind of make my life very full. I love what kids do. Never get tired of seeing what kids come up with. I talk to them about art all the time, and they know my work. They're not really impressed with it. It's a bit, arbitrary, really, for them. We're just going to pick up some artwork. I'm not really sure what it is, actually. I know it's some old text works of mine that haven't sold. Right now, my artwork's going well and I'm getting a lot of work, making a living, but, might dry up next year. Venice Biennale might be the high point of my whole career. This is a house. The last studio I had was kind of a really dodgy house that had no kitchen. I always start with the eyes. So often if you look at any of my drawings, any of the portraiture, the eyes carry most of the detail. I never ever thought that my work would afford me a living. Only 4 years ago I left my job. This is the card, the ID card. That's her number, 1128. Norman Tyndale was an anthropologist and researcher who, at the behest of the South Australian government, went out into Aboriginal communities, basically documenting the dying species. And my great-grandparents were documented by him. I imagine that she might have liked fishing. Don't know why I imagine that so strongly. I just, sort of think, oh man, I've got to start researching this woman. I think if I saw Norman Tyndale today, I would probably ask him if he thought my people were human.
What Vernon's done over many years is refused to subscribe to being typical of any any one particular form of representation. And next year, he's one of the artists that's been selected to represent Australia in the Venice Biennale.
It's about this idea of identity, and which is a core theme in my work. These works are prompters. They ask questions. All art does, or it's meant to. You know, if art is just there to look good, then is it art? If it's just pretty, then is it art? For the Venice show, I'm remounting a show I had at the IMA last year called Can't Chant. I don't know what it all means yet because I've never been to Venice, never been to Italy. So yeah, it's all a little bit sort of surreal right now. There's no hiding in drawing. There aren't layers of paint that you put over on top of another layer. You know, one line is next to another line and nothing in between. The idea that I am someone who produces political art, I think that's not entirely accurate. I think mostly what I do is I produce work that is about my own life, and there are events that happen within the political landscape that involves me as an Aboriginal. And when I make art about that, you know, should that be called political? There should be a representation in art of Aboriginal people that is, you know, full of depth and sophistry and complexity and emotion and anger and joy and passion and pleasure and sadness and sorrow, all these things that everybody else is allowed to be, but blackfellas aren't. You don't know when you're finished. You just have to decide. And I'm getting better at reaching that point. Art, I think, asks questions. It wants to open up people's eyes and people's thinking. I think more and more my life is a life of passion and determination and diligence. So that's me.